Hi everyone, welcome to day 28. So it is a Saturday class, it's our last Saturday class. So we're going to do another 60-minute practice, and today we're going to do a bit of focus on some inversions, so shoulder stand, have a little bit with pincher play, which is forearm stand. So really it's just there to challenge yourself a little bit, but also just to make sure that we're having fun. So we're going to be starting lying down on our backs today. So if you want to, just grab anything you might want for the class, but I'll meet you back on the mat. I hope you have fun. Getting ourselves nice and comfy. Letting the legs go out long, closing the eyes. And then from here, we'll just place the right hand down onto the belly and then bring the left hand up onto the chest. And having those hands there is just going to encourage you to breathe into the hands. So take the breath all the way down into that right hand, down into the belly. And then all the way up into the left hand, up into the chest. So really filling the lungs up. Just try to feel the body heavy against the ground. The eyes are closed. If your mind is wandering, then just focus on that breath, feeling the rise and fall of the hands. Giving ourselves this time to slow down, forget about the day, or maybe what you've got to do after this, and just focus on the now. And now we'll start to deepen the breath. Take an inhale through the nose, filling the lungs up all the way into the hands. Holding at the top, see how much air we can get in. And then slow exhale out through the nose, releasing the breath out. And again, inhale in through the nose. The hands rising up into the room. And slow exhale out through the nose. You can feel it at the back of the throat as you let the breath slowly release out. And again, inhaling. Slow exhale out. And we're sounding like a wave with our breath. This is called Ujjayi breath. You can keep this going throughout the class if you want to. Loud breaths in and out through the nose. Sounds like an ocean, the waves crashing in. And then from here, we'll slowly open the eyes. Start to bring the right knee into the chest. Squeezing the knee in, you can interlace the hands around that knee, that shin, and just gently rocking the knee side to side. Just taking a gentle spinal twist at the beginning of the class, guiding that knee over towards the left. Encouraging the knee down towards the ground, feeling the twist through the spine. And then your next inhale, come back through center, squeezing the knee in. And then from here, using our index finger and our middle finger, creating a little hook with those fingers, hooking it around the big toe. And if we can't quite reach around the big toe, we can take a hold of the back of the thigh. But don't need to extend the leg completely straight. So if you've got a nice grip around that big toe, we then just start to extend the foot up towards the ceiling, but we can have a bend in our legs here. The foot is flexed, that heel drawing up. You may start to straighten the leg a little bit. I want you to make sure that both hips are sticking down to the mat. You can even place your left hand on that left hip. Inhale here, extend the foot up a little bit higher. Exhale, pulling that toe with those hands, with that hand. And then from here, our next inhale, we're going to let that foot fall out towards the side. So it doesn't need to fall out too wide, just slowly guiding that foot out towards the right. Again, checking in with your hips, making sure both hips are sticking down towards the mat. Finding a little bit of a hip opener here. Inhale. And exhale, guiding that foot out towards the side. And then slowly, our next inhale, we'll bend into the leg to bring that knee back in through center. Give it one last little squeeze, a little rock. And then extending that leg out long as we bring the left knee into the chest now. First of all, squeezing it in, rocking side to side. Gently getting into that hip joint just a touch. And then on your next inhale, guiding that knee over towards the right, finding that twist. Really feeling that twist through the core, guiding that knee down towards the ground. Inhale. And exhale. And slowly inhaling back through center. From here again, using that index finger and the middle finger of that left hand, hooking around the big toe. And if it can't quite reach, then you can just take a hold of the back of the leg. But from here, we start to guide that foot, that heel up towards the ceiling. That knee or that leg can be nice and bent. Doesn't need to be straight. Inhaling here, gently starting to feel the stretch of the back of the legs. Foot is flexed, the heel drawing up. And again, making sure that that right hand is on top of that right hip, encouraging both hips down towards the ground. Inhaling here, extend the foot a little higher. Exhale to stay. And then nice and slowly guiding that foot all the way out towards the side. Very slowly, see how slow you can take it. Don't let it just fall out. And here it's really important to not let that hip, that right hip lift off the mat. But we're sticking it down towards the mat, so we're really feeling that stretch through that hip, that inner thigh. Inhale, exhale to stay, and then slowly bending into the leg, bringing that knee back into center. Bring both knees in now, give a little squeeze, rocking side to side. Big breath in, exhale out the nose. That ujjayi breath again, like a wave. And then from here, we're going to extend the feet all the way up towards the ceiling. You can point the toes here, either taking the arms down by the side or interlacing them behind the head. We're going to work a little bit on the core now, just start to warm up the core. Finding 10 leg lifts. As we inhale, we let those heels drop down towards the ground, squeezing that core for that control, and then exhale, lifting the feet back up. So that's 1. We inhale, lower them down nice and slowly. Exhale, squeeze the core to lift the feet back up. 2. Inhale, lower. Exhale. 3, nice and controlled. Inhale, lower down. Exhaling. 4. Inhale, lower. Exhale, squeeze the core. 5, halfway. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, squeeze the core, protect that lower back, lift the hips. 6, inhale, lower down. Exhaling. 7. Inhale, lower the heels nice and slowly. Exhaling. 8, just 2 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift them up for 9. Last 1. Inhale. And exhale, squeeze the core, lift the feet back up, bend the legs, bringing those knees into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Again, rocking side to side. Big breath in. And exhale. And then from here, we'll rock up and down the spine. Rounding that back, massaging up through the back. And then after a couple of rocks, we can cross over at the ankles, roll over the feet, plant the hands in front, find our tabletop position. In the middle of our mat, hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, the toes untucked, so the tops of the feet pressing down into the mat. Finding our cat-cow as we inhale, drop the belly down, lift the chest, lift the chin. Feeling that stretch through those abs. And exhale, rounding the back, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. And again, inhaling, lifting the chest. And exhaling, rounding the back. A couple more here, finding space. Inhale, lift. Exhaling, rounding the back. And one more time, inhale, scoop the belly down, lift the chest. And exhale, rounding the spine, push the hands into the mat. Coming back to that flat back, we're going to rock forwards and backwards. Starting to work a little bit on those wrists, just gently rocking forwards and backwards. We can flip the right palm, coming onto the top of the palm, and just gently rock forwards and backwards here. Stretching out through those forearms and those wrists. And then flip that right palm back, and then flip the left palm. And again, rocking forwards and backwards. And then flipping that left palm back down. So all 10 fingers gripping into the mat, fingers spread. From here, we're going to extend the right leg out behind. And it's already feeling like that core is engaged here. I just want you to make sure that those hips are nice and square. So the leg's not lifting up too high and the hip's not open. But that right hip is drawing down, the inner thigh squeezing together. And making sure that right leg, so that leg that's lifted, isn't lifting too high, but it's staying in line with the body. Really squeeze the core here, inhale. As we exhale, we bring that knee in towards the nose as we round the back, tucking the chin. And then again, inhale, we extend that foot all the way up behind, just checking in, make sure we don't lift it too high, squeeze the core. Exhale, rounding the back, bring that knee in towards the nose. Inhale, extend, straight out behind, squeezing the core. Exhale, round the back, knee to nose. And then bringing that knee down, back underneath the hip. Just wiggle the hips a little bit side to side. Before we go into the other side, lifting the left leg behind us. Inhale, extend it all the way out behind. Just checking in, those inner thighs squeezing together, that left hip dropping down, core engaged. Inhale here, leg reaching behind. Exhale, round the spine as you bring the knee in towards the nose. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, knee to nose, round the back. Push the hands into the mat. Inhale, extend behind. Exhale, knee to nose. Last time, inhale, extend. And exhale, knee to nose, round in the back. And then bringing that knee back down one more time, taking those hips side to side, give them a little rock. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes underneath, push through the hands and the feet, lifting up to our downward facing dog. Hips nice and high, bending into the legs to start with, really feeling that spine lengthening out. Feeling like your hands and your feet are pressing in two of its opposite directions, almost like we want to split the mat in two. We're pressing the hands away, lifting the hips a little higher. Checking in, making sure we're not hunched up in our shoulders. The shoulders are rolling down the back. So you can shake your head, release the neck. And then from here, walking through the feet, gently feeling this opening through the backs of the legs. Drawing one heel down at a time. And then planting the feet back down. Hip distance apart. We inhale, rocking forwards, find our high plank position. Squeeze the core, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, take the hips up and back, downward dog. Hands and feet stay in the same position. Inhale, rocking forwards. High plank position, squeeze the core. Exhale, hips up and back, downward dog. And again, inhaling forwards. Exhale it back. Using that Ujjayi breath, that wave breath. Inhale forwards. Squeeze the core. Exhale, take it back. This time we inhaling, coming forwards. Find our high plank position. And then from here, keeping with that core nice and engaged, we're going to lower down onto our forearms. So one at a time, taking one forearm down and then bringing the other forearm down. So we find ourselves in this low plank position. The elbows directly underneath the shoulders. You can either interlace the hands in front, or you can have them parallel with one another with the palms facing down. But wherever we are, we squeeze the core, we push the elbows into the mat to round that upper back, rounding those shoulders, squeezing the belly button in. Inhale here, exhale to stay. Core engaged, staying with this, inhale, and exhale. Last breath. This time as we exhale, we slowly lower the hips all the way down towards the mat, untucking the toes, and we find ourselves in our Sphinx pose. So here, if our hands were interlaced, then just uninterlace them and have them parallel with one another, the palms facing down. Those hands are in line with those elbows. And then you want to feel like those hands are gripping into the mat, sliding the forearms down the mat to lift the chest, rolling the shoulders back. Feeling this opening in the chest, this back bend. Inhale here. Exhale to stay. You want a little bit of a deeper back bend. You can press the hands down into the mat to lift the elbows, lift the forearms, finding finding seal, so the arms become straight. Let's go in German, Spiel. Inhaling here, and exhale, slowly lower the forearms back down, find our Sphinx pose. From here, we're then going to tuck the toes back under, pushing through those elbows, forearms, those elbows, that core engaged. We start to lift the hips back up, finding our low plank position. Keeping the forearms exactly where they are, we start to walk the feet in a little bit closer towards the elbows, so those hips come high up towards the ceiling. So this is like downward facing dog, but on our forearms. So this is called dolphin pose. We really want to press those elbows into the mat to lift the body away from the shoulders. Lifting those hips nice and high. You can have those feet hip distance apart. Inhaling here. Either taking the gaze towards the feet, feeling this stretch through the shoulders, or you can take the gaze in between the arms, in between the forearms. Pressing those hands and those forearms into the mat to find a little bit more lift away from the ground. Inhaling here. You can either stay here or we can lift one leg up, lifting the left leg up, extending it up, pressing those elbows, those forearms into the mat, finding more lift, strong in those shoulders. And then exhale, bring that leg down, switching it out. We can lift the other leg. Again, keeping that lift for those shoulders. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly lower that foot down. Bringing the knees down towards the mat, untuck the toes. And then take ourselves back to our child's pose. That was a lot on the shoulders. We can take those arms down by the sides, palms facing up. And let the shoulders round here. The elbows falling out towards the side. A little rock side to side. Inhaling and exhaling. And then in your own time, bringing those arms back out in front, planting them down. We're then going to tuck the toes under, press through the hands and the feet, lift the hips, find our downward facing dog. Walking through the feet once again. And then in your own time, walking the feet all the way up towards the top of the mat. Meeting in a forward fold, you can bend into the legs as you get there. Releasing the body over, swaying side to side, shake the head. You can even take a hold of the opposite elbows, creating this little swing. Inhale and exhale, release. Letting those hands fall back down towards the side, down towards the ground, and then rolling up through standing. Vertebrae by vertebrae, head comes up last. Finding this alignment in the back. As we get to the top, roll the shoulders up towards the ears, down the back. Arms by the side, palms facing forwards, finding our mountain pose. Those feet pressing down into the ground, tucking the pelvis under. Inhaling here. And exhale to stay. From here we'll inhale, lift the arms up overhead, and as we exhale, taking them all the way back behind us, interlacing the hands behind that lower back. Just stretching out through those shoulders now. As we inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Even see if you can lift those hands a little bit further away from your lower back or your glutes. Lifting the chest up, inhale. As we exhale, bending into the legs and then forward fold down. Letting those hands just be where they are, still interlaced. They may just come just a little inch away from the lower back or up towards the ceiling or even falling out in front. Wherever it is, we squeeze the shoulder blades together, making sure that the neck is released. And you can even have a little wiggle with the legs, finding a bit of a twist, side to side in the torso. And then in your own time, releasing the hands all the way back down towards the mat. Give yourself a little shake. And then toe heel the feet together so those toes are touching, heels just slightly apart. We inhale, roll up to standing, bring the arms up overhead, palms touch, feeling strong, feeling long. And exhale, bringing the palms to the chest. Finding our sun salutation A. Try and focus on that ujjayi breath like I mentioned before, so that the wave-like breath coming in and out through the nose as we go through these movements. Inhale, we lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back to high plank position. Inhale, high plank, strong core. Exhale, we chaturanga, shift forwards first, lower down halfway, you can use your knees. And then as you inhale, flipping onto the tops of the feet, finding our upward facing dog, shoulders rolling back. Exhale, hips up and back, flip back onto the feet, finding downward facing dog. Here we can really focus on that ujjayi breath, that wave breath. Inhale through the nose, nice and loud. Exhale out through the nose, just as loud. You can really feel it in the back of the throat here. And again, inhale. And exhale. Last inhaling. As you exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, step, walk, or even hop the feet up towards the top of the mat, toes together. Inhale, we halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, drawing yourself down. Inhale, roll up to standing, bring the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, the palms at the chest. And again, inhale, lift the arms. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, find space. Long exhale as we plant the hands and make our way all the way back through our chaturanga, stepping or hopping back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, taking the hips up and back, flipping back onto the feet, downward facing dog. With long breaths, inhale and exhale to stay. Pressing the hands into the mat, away from the body, lifting the hips up nice and high. Last inhale here. As we exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, step, walk, or even hop. Toes together at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, roll up to standing, bring the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, palms at the chest, one more round. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands down, make our way back through our chaturanga. Strong core, using your knees here to build support, build strength. And then inhale to our back bend, roll the shoulders back. And exhale, downward facing dog. Again, there's 3 breaths now. Inhaling where we are. And exhale to stay. Big long inhale. And exhale. Last breath. As we exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, step, walk, or hop. Feet together at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolling up to standing, bring the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bringing the palms to the chest. Again, those feet are together. Finding our chair pose, we bend into the legs nice and deep. Just bring the fingertips down towards the mat, just by the sides of the toes. Making sure that you can see your toes over the top of your knees. And then keeping the legs where they are, we then start to lift the arms. Squeezing the knees together, squeezing the core, inhale. And then exhale, straightening the legs, we forward fold down. Inhale, find our halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, make your way back through your vinyasa, stepping or hopping back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, take the hips up and back, downward facing dog. In our downward dog, we're then going to inhale, rock forwards, find our high plank once again. Strong core as we exhale, lower down onto our forearms. Finding that low plank once again. This time I do want you to have those palms facing down, parallel with each other. Finding our low plank, squeeze the core. And then from here we start to lift the hips, walk the feet in a little bit closer. Find our dolphin pose once again. See if we can walk those feet just a little bit closer towards those elbows, getting those hips nice and high. Really pressing those forearms into the mat to lift the face away from the ground, strengthening out through those shoulders. Inhaling here. Exhale to stay. Either using one hand at a time, or if you've got that strength in the shoulders, you can use both hands. We're going to press through the hands to lift up back to our downward facing dog. So you lift the elbows off the mat. That's quite a big move, so you can take one hand at a time, finding ourselves in our downward dog. From here, we're going to inhale, lift the right leg up. As we exhale, we step that foot through towards the top of the mat. Setting up for our high lunge, making sure that those feet aren't in line with each other, but if they're a little bit further towards the sides of the mat, that will help with stability. Then we're inhale, stand up nice and strong, finding our high lunge, bending into the front leg, that back heel drawing behind us.
Working with a little bit of balance now, so focusing on something in front of us. We're then going to start to take that weight forwards over that front leg. We can start by hopping that back foot in a little bit, so all that weight is going into that front leg. And slowly starting to shift, come back a bit, slowly starting to shift the weight forwards, 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 and then start to float the back leg up, finding our warrior three. If you want, you can bring the palms together at the chest, or you can have them out wide to help with balance, but you really want to squeeze that core. That left hip is dropping down like we found when we were in that tabletop position, so that leg's not too high. It's in line with the torso. And then from here, really slow and controlled, we're going to come up to standing, keeping that leg lifted and bringing it into the chest. Now we have to shift our gaze to something in front of us. You can take a hold of that knee, squeezing it in, working with that balance now. Now from here, we can either take a hold of the back of the thigh and start to extend that foot out in front, or like we found when we were lying on our backs, we create that little hook with those two fingers and hook them around the big toe. You can use your right hand on your right hip for balance or out towards the side. Focusing on something in front of us, we then start to extend that left leg out in front, that heel drawing forwards. Again, the leg can be bent or it can be straight, focusing on something in front of us. And you guessed it, like we did when we were lying down, we slowly start to take that foot out towards the side. Here it can help if you bring the right arm out towards the side, so you're opening the body out. Inhaling here. Exhale, opening. Our next inhale, coming back through center. And then we slowly release that foot, and then taking that foot all the way back, finding our high lunge. Whew, that was a lot in that one leg. We're then going to straighten that front leg, giving that nice little rest, and folding down, finding our pyramid pose. Folding over that straight leg, stretching out through all those tendons around the ankle, around the shin. And give ourselves a little wiggle side to side. Inhale here, flat back. Exhale, folding down. Our next inhale, bending into the front leg, plant the hands. Stepping back through our Vinyasa, finding high plank. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga halfway down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Back bend, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. So we know where we're going. The first time, or the first round, is always a little bit wobbly, a little bit scary because you don't know where we're going. Now you do. It might feel a little easier. We're going through onto the left side. We inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, step that foot through towards the top of the mat. Strong through those feet, finding our high lunge. We inhale, stand up nice and tall, reaching the arms up. Finding space in the side body, that back heel drawing behind us. Coming through into warrior three. So we start to shift the weight forwards, already focusing on something in front of us, taking the weight into that front leg. You can hop the back foot in and slowly shifting the weight forwards. We then float the back leg up. Again, checking in, that right hip is dropping down, squeezing the inner thighs. Core engaged, the arms can be either out the side, palms of the chest, or extending out in front. And then from here, we're slowly making that transition, coming up to standing, bringing that right knee into the chest, shifting the gaze now to something in front of us, working with that balance. Nice. Again, here, you don't have to have that hook around the big toe. You can just extend the foot out in front, or with that right hand, creating that hook and hooking it around that big toe. It'll help here if you place that left hand onto that left hip or out towards the side. But we're slowly going to start to extend that foot out in front, that heel drawing out in front. The leg can be bent or straight. Inhaling here. And here, the exhale, we slowly start to take that foot out towards the side. Again, it helps if you extend that left arm out towards the side as well. Working with that counterbalance. Inhaling here. Exhale to stay. And then slowly bringing that foot back in through center and taking it all the way back behind, finding our high lunge. Once again, inhale. And then starting to straighten the front leg. And we fold down, pyramid pose. Stretching out through that ankle, that shin. Inhale, find a halfway lift, a little bit of space in that back. Exhale, folding down. Our next inhale, bend into the front leg, plant the hands, stepping back through our Vinyasa. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, strong core, chaturanga, halfway down. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up and back. 3 breaths here. You can take child's pose now if you want to, giving yourself that little rest in the shoulders or the feet. Wherever we are, just focus on that breath. Try and regain that ujjayi breath again. If you're in child's pose, just meeting back and downward dog. We inhale together. Exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, step, walk or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Toes together, inhale, find a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, bend into the legs, once again, sitting into our chair pose, sweep the arms up overhead. And then exhale, standing up tall, bringing the palms to the chest. So we're going to go for one more round. Inhale, sit to our chair pose, bending into the legs, lift the arms. Exhale, straighten the legs, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands, make our way back through our Vinyasa. Strong core, using your knees in chaturanga if you need. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. And exhale, taking it back, downward facing dog. From here, we inhale, rock forwards, find our high plank position, strong core. Exhale, lower down onto our forearms, find our low plank position. Strong core again, this time we start to walk the feet in towards the elbows, finding our dolphin pose. Hips nice and high, pressing the forearms into the mat, lifting the face away from the mat. Inhaling here, and exhale. You can lift one leg up. If you want to have a little bit of a play, you can have a little bit of a hop. Hop the right foot up, finding a little bit of a forearm play here. You don't have to go all the way up, just trying a little bit of hops with one leg, and then bringing that left leg down, lifting the right leg up. And again, either staying here or having a play with hopping the feet, playing with a little bit of our forearm stand, pincher. Inhaling here. Exhale, dolphin pose, both feet on the ground. Coming into our downward facing dog here, either one hand at a time or pressing both hands into the mat. Finding our downward facing dog, hips nice and high, feet hip distance apart. From here, we're going to inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, stepping the foot through towards the top of the mat, setting up for our high lunge. We inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Strong through those legs, lifting the arms up. And then from here, we move forwards into our warrior 3, shifting the weight forwards, gazing at something in front of us as we start to shift the weight forwards, 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 and then floating the back leg up. Again, those hips are square, squeezing the inner thighs together, making that transition up to standing, shifting the gaze as we inhale, stand up nice and slowly, bringing that left foot into the chest. Squeeze it in. Taking the gaze in front of us now. Creating that little hook with those two fingers hooking around the big toe. You can take a hold of that hip with that right hand and then slowly starting to let that foot press out in front, squeezing the core here, squeeze the inner thighs, inhale. Exhale, we then open, take that foot out towards the side, nice and slowly. That right arm can also go out towards the right, opening the body out, strong in that supporting leg. And then our next inhale, coming back through center, release the toe, and then let that foot fall all the way back behind. Find our high lunge, inhale, lift. And then straightening the front leg, we fold down, finding our pyramid pose. Stretching out through that ankle. And then our next inhale, bending into the front leg, plant the hands, either taking a vinyasa or I give you the option to go straight to downward dog. Inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. So last side now. Last bit of these standing poses. We inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step the foot through towards the top of the mat, strong through those feet. We inhale, stand up nice and tall, find our high lunge. Straight away, we start to shift that weight forwards over that front thigh, gazing at something in front of us, taking the weight forwards, forwards, forwards as we float the back leg up. Strong in that supporting arm, squeezing the inner thighs together. I said arm, I meant leg. And then slowly we come up to standing, shifting the gaze. The slower we go, the more control we have. And then bringing that right knee into the chest, squeeze it in, inhale. From here, we take those two fingers hooking around the big toe. And again, taking a hold of that hip. Slowly starting to press that foot away. The leg can be bent or straight. And then our next inhale, we slowly open that foot out towards the side as we take that left arm out towards the side as well. Opening the body up. Inhale. And slowly exhale, bringing that foot back in, releasing the toe, letting that foot go all the way back down towards the back of the mat. We inhale, high lunge. Exhale, straightening the front leg and folding down into our pyramid pose. Hard work is over. Inhale and exhale. Bending into the front leg, plant the hands. You can either go straight to downward dog or take our final vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then from here, we'll bring the knees down, untucking the toes, find our child's pose. And do a little wiggle side to side. Big breath in and exhale. And then from here, just walking the hands back up towards the knees. Then we're going to roll over onto one side of the hip. As we let just the right leg go out long and keep that left foot in, that left knee out towards the side. So we find ourselves in our seated tree. And we're going to inhale, lift the arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we forward fold over that straight leg, so over that right leg. And we can take a hold of what we can, either the shin, the ankle, even the foot, and start to draw ourselves down. Here you can feel a little bit more in that lower back. Inhaling where we are. Exhale, drawing ourselves down. And slowly
Coming back up through center, switching the legs. Let the left leg go out long as you bring that right foot in, the knee out towards the side. And we inhale, lift the arms up, finding space. And then exhale, forward folding over that straight leg. Again, taking a hold of what we can. As we find an inhale, find a little bit more space in the body. And as we exhale, we draw ourselves down. Focusing on that wave-like breath, that ujjayi breath again, in and out through the nose. Nice and loud. Just gives you a little bit more control. Now next inhale, coming back up through center. Let both legs go out long here. Give them a little shake, maybe even a little squeeze down the legs. And as we inhale, we reach the arms up. And as we exhale, hinging at the hips, forward folding over the legs, trying to keep that spine nice and long. And then bringing the hands down again to where we can reach. We then inhale, find a halfway lift, find a little bit more space in the back. And then as we exhale, pull with those hands, drawing ourselves down. Focusing on that ujjayi breath. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we're going to come all the way onto our backs. So you might want to scooch the butt forwards a little bit, rolling down onto our backs. And then almost like we were doing our seated forward fold like we've just done before, but we're now going to do it on our backs. We're going to take our legs all the way up and overhead, like we want to take our feet back towards the back of the mat. Finding our plow pose. So it's a deep forward fold, letting those feet come down towards the back of the mat. The hips will lift, feeling this stretch through that back, already feeling yourself in this kind of shoulder stand, pressing the backs of the arms down into the mat. Now from here, I want you to make sure you don't turn your head from side to side. So we're going to come up into our shoulder stand. And if you don't want to try shoulder stand, you can either just come all the way back down onto our backs, or you can come up against a wall and bring your feet up against a wall. But if you want to try shoulder stand, we'll from here start to bring our hands onto our lower back. So you really feel the backs of the arms pressing down into the mat. If you press the backs of the arms down, you can even feel the hips lifting a little higher. So you're placing your hands onto your back, and then from here, we can start to lift one leg up towards the ceiling. And you may just want to stay here and you can switch the legs, or you can slowly start to either bring one foot in with the leg bent, and then slowly taking both feet up towards the ceiling. If you then start to walk your hands up the back towards the shoulders, you'll find those hips start to push a little bit more forwards and finding that vertical line all the way from the toes to the shoulders. Again, really protecting that neck, not turning the head from side to side. Breathing here. You can even focus on that ujjayi breath. Inhale and exhale. And again, inhaling and exhaling. Slowly to come out, we can walk the hands down the back. You can bend the legs nice and slowly. And then take the feet all the way back behind the head. Once again, finding our plow pose. So that deep forward fold. Let the arms go out long, palms facing down. And then we're slowly going to roll down the back. So feeling that core helping you here as you roll all the way onto the back. The hips touch down, and then you can bring the feet down. From here we're going to come into a counter pose called fish, which is where in plow we have this closed throat, so we just want to open that throat up. So from here we lift up onto our forearms. And you can place your hands or your fingertips just on the top of the butt or just below the lower back. And then you slide the body towards the back of the mat, like your forearms are on train tracks, and let the top of the head fall behind and touch down so the throat opens up, pressing the forearms into the mat to lift the chest up, let the top of the head come down. Closing the eyes here, breathing into this. And then to slowly come out, we tuck the chin and roll all the way onto the back. Releasing the hands. And from here we'll bring our knees into our chest, giving them a little squeeze, a little rock side to side. Planting the feet just behind the hips, making sure that they're hip distance apart. You can tickle the back of the heels. Coming into our bridge pose, finding this back bend at the end of class. We inhale, press through the feet, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Make sure those knees don't fall apart, but they're actively squeezing together. And then again, you can press the backs of the arms down into the mat to lift those hip bones up a little bit higher. Now here you can find a supported bridge pose, where if you lift those hips up nice and high, you can try and get the butt of the palm underneath that lower back. So you hold that lower back with your hands. And then you don't have to press through those feet or squeeze the glutes so much to lift those hips up. You can let them fall onto the hands. So those forearms are like pillars holding the body up. Again, just make sure we don't turn our head side to side, protecting that neck. Inhaling here. Exhale to stay. And again, inhale. And exhale. This time we'll slowly start to squeeze the glutes, pressing the feet into the mat to lift the hips a little bit higher. And then we can release the hands underneath, finding our normal bridge pose. Then our next inhale, come up onto the toes, lift the hips. And then exhale, rolling down the back, nice and slowly, all the way onto the back. When we get there, we'll just tick-tock those knees side to side. Feeling that release through the lower back. And then from here, next time we pass through center, we'll bring both knees into the chest, squeeze them in. Finding our happy baby pose, this little hip opener, bringing the arms on the insides of the knees, let the knees go out wide, and then taking a hold of the feet or the ankles, and then letting the soles of the feet come up towards the ceiling. So we're actively pressing the feet into the hands, feeling the stretch through those outer hips, drawing the knees down towards the sides of the body. You can close your eyes here again. You can even rock a little bit side to side, like a little happy baby on its back. Inhaling and exhale. And then releasing the feet back through center, squeezing them in. Like we did at the beginning of the class, finding nice spinal twist We can let the left leg go out long and then guiding that right knee out towards the left hand side. Feeling this twist through the core. You can even let that right arm out towards the side, encouraging the shoulder down. And here, just try and keep our eyes closed for the rest of the class. And again, focusing on that Ujjayi breath, that wave sound you make at the back of the throat. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the nose. Next, inhale back through center, switching the legs. Bring the left knee into the chest, squeeze it in. And then exhale, guiding that knee towards the right. As you let the left arm go out towards the side. Eyes closed. And again, focus on that Ujjayi breath. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. Slow exhale. Now next inhale, come back up through center. And then from here, letting both legs go out long. If you have a blanket or a jumper that you want to put on now, or something to cover the eyes, just while we take our time here in our final resting pose of Savasana. Arms down by the side, palms facing up. You can let go of that breath now, so forget about the Ujjayi breath. You can open the mouth. And just come back to that regular breathing pattern. But letting the body be heavy against the ground. And from now, start to deepen the breath again. Wiggling the fingers and toes. Slowly bringing movement back into the body. Circling the wrists and the ankles. You can take the arms up overhead for a full body stretch. And then in your own time, rolling over onto your side. And taking your time, slowly coming up to a comfortable seated position. And when we get there, we'll bring the palms together at the chest, eyes closed. Just take this time to thank yourself for doing this class, and I thank you. Namaste.